The Rise of the Dragon, from Manchu. Origins to Qing dominance. The Qing Dynasty, meaning clear or pure, ruled China for over 2.5 centuries, from 1644 to 1912. It was a period of immense change and upheaval, but also one of great cultural and economic achievement. The Qing Dynasty was the last of China's imperial dynasties, and its legacy continues to shape the country today. The dynasty's founders were not Han Chinese, the dominant ethnic group in China, but rather Manchus from the northeast. Under the leadership of Nurhaci, a skilled warrior and strategist, the Manchus unified the Jurchen tribes and challenged the ruling Ming dynasty. Nurhaci's son, Hong Taiji, declared the founding of the Qing dynasty in 1636 and adopted the name Manchu for his people. In 1644, the Ming capital of Beijing fell to a rebel army, prompting a Ming general, Wu Songui, to make a fateful decision. Seeking to quell the rebellion, Wu Songui allied with the Manchus, allowing them to pass through the Great Wall. The Qing forces swiftly defeated the rebels and seized control of Beijing, marking the beginning of their rule over China. The Qing emperors, particularly Shunzhi, who completed the conquest of China in 1662, and Kangxi, who reigned for a remarkable 61 years, consolidated their power and established a centralized state. They implemented policies to integrate the Manchus and Han Chinese, including the adoption of Confucianism as the state ideology. The Qing dynasty reached its territorial zenith during the reigns of Kangxi, from 1661 to 1722, and his grandson, Qianlong, from 1735 to 1796. Through a series of military campaigns, they expanded the empire's borders, incorporating regions like Tibet, Xinjiang, and Mongolia. This vast empire was governed through a complex administrative system, with a blend of Manchu and Han officials holding key positions. The Kangxi emperor's reign in particular is remembered as a golden age of peace and prosperity, marked by territorial expansion, economic growth, and a flourishing of culture. During this period, the Qing emperors also patronized the arts and scholarship. Kangxi commissioned the compilation of the Kangxi Dictionary, a monumental work that standardized the Chinese language. His grandson, Qianlong, oversaw the creation of the complete library of the Four Treasuries, an attempt to collect and preserve the vast corpus of Chinese literature. This period of Qing rule witnessed a flourishing of novels, plays, and poetry, reflecting the vibrancy of Chinese culture under the Manchus. The Qing dynasty in the 18th century stood as one of the largest and most powerful empires in the world. Its economy thrived on a combination of agriculture, trade, and handicraft industries. The influx of silver from the Americas, earned through trade with European powers, further fueled economic expansion. The Qing government maintained strict control over foreign trade, funneling it through the port of Canton, or Guangzhou, under the so-called Canton system. This system, while profitable for the Qing and for certain Chinese merchants, ultimately created friction with European powers eager for greater access to the Chinese market. Despite its economic success and territorial expansion, the Qing dynasty began to face internal and external pressures in the late 18th century. Population growth, coupled with land scarcity and official corruption, led to social unrest. The once efficient Qing bureaucracy, which had effectively governed the vast empire, became increasingly corrupt and ineffective. Moreover, the influx of silver, while initially beneficial, led to inflation and economic instability. The Qing government, facing growing internal problems, also had to contend with a changing world order. European powers, emboldened by industrialization and imperial ambitions, sought to expand their influence in China. Culturally, the Qing dynasty witnessed a vibrant and diverse artistic and literary scene. Traditional forms of Chinese opera flourished, while new literary genres, such as the vernacular novel, gained immense popularity. The Qing emperors, despite being of Manchu origin, were patrons of Chinese art and literature, recognizing the importance of these cultural forms in maintaining stability and legitimacy. They supported the compilation of encyclopedias and dictionaries, aiming to preserve and promote Chinese knowledge. However, the Qing dynasty also saw the suppression of certain ideas and beliefs that were deemed a threat to its rule. Christian missionaries, who had been active in China since the late Ming dynasty, faced increasing restrictions under the Qing. The Qing government viewed Christianity as a foreign religion that challenged Confucian values and social order. In 1723, the Yongjing Emperor issued an edict banning the propagation of Christianity in China, leading to the persecution of missionaries and converts. Despite these measures, Christianity continued to spread, albeit clandestinely, reflecting the complex relationship between the Qing state and foreign influences. The 19th century marked a turning point in the history of the Qing Dynasty, as it faced a series of internal rebellions and external pressures that shook its foundations. The Opium Wars, fought between the Qing Empire and Great Britain in the mid-19th century, exposed the technological and military gap that had emerged between China and the West. The British, seeking to reverse their trade imbalance with China, resorted to smuggling opium, a highly addictive drug, into the country. The Qing government's attempts to suppress the opium trade led to the First Opium War, from 1839 to 1842, which ended in a humiliating defeat for China. The Treaty of Nanjing, which concluded the war, forced the Qing to cede Hong Kong to Britain and opened several ports to foreign trade. The Second Opium War, from 1856 to 1860, resulted in further concessions from the Qing government, including the legalization of the opium trade and the granting of more privileges to foreign powers. The Opium Wars had a profound impact on China, not only weakening the Qing dynasty, but also undermining Chinese confidence and leading to a period of self-reflection and reform efforts. Internal rebellions further exacerbated the Qing dynasty's woes. The Taiping Rebellion from 1850 to 1864, one of the deadliest conflicts in human history, erupted in southern China and spread rapidly, challenging the Qing's authority. Led by Hong Xiuquan, a self-proclaimed brother of Jesus Christ, the Taiping rebels sought to overthrow the Qing dynasty and establish a utopian society based on their own unique blend of Christianity and traditional Chinese beliefs. The Taiping Rebellion lasted for over a decade and resulted in an estimated 20 to 30 million deaths, devastating the Chinese countryside and further weakening the Qing government. The Qing dynasty, facing both internal and external crises, embarked on a series of reforms in the late 19th century, known as the self-strengthening movement. These reforms aimed to modernize the Chinese military, industry and education system by adopting Western technology and ideas. However, the self-strengthening movement ultimately proved inadequate in addressing the deep-seated problems plaguing the Qing dynasty. Conservative elements within the court resisted radical changes, while the reforms themselves were often poorly implemented and lacked a coherent vision. The First Sino-Japanese War, from 1894 to 1895, further exposed the limitations of the Qing's modernization efforts. Japan, a nation that had undergone its own rapid modernization process during the Meiji Restoration, decisively defeated China, revealing the Qing's military weakness and technological backwardness. The defeat was a national humiliation for China, and led to a loss of territory, including Taiwan, as well as further concessions to foreign powers. In the aftermath of the Sino-Japanese War, a young emperor, Guangxu, inspired by reformist officials, launched the 100 Days Reform in 1898. This ambitious attempt at rapid modernization encompassed a wide range of reforms, including changes to the education system, the military, and the bureaucracy. However, the 100 Days Reform faced strong opposition from conservative forces within the Qing court, led by Empress Dowager Cixi, who staged a coup, placed Guangxu under house arrest, and reversed many of the reforms. The Boxer Rebellion, which erupted in 1900, marked another turning point in the Qing dynasty's decline. The Boxers, a secret society composed primarily of peasants and martial artists, resented foreign influence in China and targeted Christian missionaries and converts. The Qing government, initially hesitant to confront the Boxers, eventually threw its support behind the movement, hoping to use it to expel foreign powers. However, the Boxer Rebellion was brutally suppressed by an 8-nation alliance, consisting of Japan, Russia, Britain, France, the United States, Germany, Italy, and Austria-Hungary. The defeat further weakened the Qing dynasty and resulted in more concessions and humiliations. By the early 20th century, the Qing dynasty was on the verge of collapse. Internal rebellions continued to plague the empire, while revolutionary sentiment grew among intellectuals and reformers who called for an end to dynastic rule and the establishment of a modern republic. In 1911, a series of uprisings known as the Xinhai Revolution erupted across China, led by Sun Yat-sen and his Revolutionary Party.